Hey, Chief.
Good afternoon.
So at least, we've got some people showing up. So 1 o'clock.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's 1 o'clock. So why don't we get started with this afternoon's opportunity for a discussion between parents and the Glendale-River Hills School District Administration to go over any last minute questions or clarifications that may be needed for the reopening of schools on Monday, at least the start of the reopening. Why don't we just go and ask the administrators if they could introduce themselves. I see Dr. Kilton. Can we start with Dr. Kilton, and then we'll go through all the administrators who are here. So, Doctor?
You bet. Hi, everyone. This is Shannon Kilton. I'm the Director of Educational Services, and I'm also the point person with most of the COVID data. If you've been on the board meetings, I've been doing the reports as far as the COVID updates and vaccine updates, et cetera. So thanks for coming today, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Jenica, you want to go?
Sure. I'm Jenica Westfall. I'm the Director of Teaching and Learning for the school district. Welcome, everyone.
Jim Beckman.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Jim Beckman, Director of Operations for the school district. Hello.
Ms. Umar?
Hi, I'm Mallory Umar. I'm the Associate Principal at Parkway.
Dr. Smith?
Hi, I'm Dr. Smith and I'm the principal at Parkway. Welcome.
Ms. Young?
Hi, I am Anna Young. I am the principal at Glen Hills Middle. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming.
And let's see, is Mr. Wright on? Mr. Wright, are you on? Mr. Wright is not on. I'm Elliot Moser, the interim superintendent of schools. We have a couple school board members on, I think. Mr. Franklin, could you introduce yourself?
Certainly. Hi, I'm Andrew Franklin. I'm president of the school board. I'm parent of 7th grader, and I want to thank everyone for coming in. I think we still have a couple people still coming into the room, but I'm here to participate if necessary, but really just observe. And I really wanted to say thank you before we start to everyone for agreeing to do this on really what was short notice. It's really wonderful that on a Friday afternoon we're able to herd the cats and get everyone together. So enough said.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Do we have any other school board members? Okay, then why don't we start with our discussion. Parents, are there any questions? And if you have questions and you'd like to point them directly at one of us, that's fine. Or if you just want to have a question, and then we'll see who can answer it best. So parents, go right ahead.
Hi, this is Laura. I have a question.
Go ahead. It's all yours.
My daughter attends Parkway for K-5, and I was wondering what's the plan for school pictures? Are we doing school pictures this year or not? I know some other school districts have done them during this time, and I was just wondering if this will be done.
We are planning on having school pictures in the spring.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Hi, I have a quick question for you. I'm a parent of a 7th grader who will be back in person starting next week. We live close enough to the school where he'll be walking to school, but my understanding is for the 7th and 8th graders, I believe, if I saw that correctly, they'll be entering in from the northeast. Is that the northeast exit? or entrance. So I'm trying to figure out with him walking to school, is there any way that he can use the main entrance? I understand it's social distancing, or does he need to walk and through the rear door in the back of the building?
We will have students walk through the rear door in the back of the building. If he's coming off of range line, he could cut through the back side if that would make the trip a little bit shorter. But otherwise, we would ask that he come into that lower entrance, walk along the side of the building, past the pool doors and around. We are trying to maintain social distancing as well as regulate the areas in which students, the entry points that students are coming into. And the front part of our building will have some bus drop off that happens for our special education students, as well as that will be our late student entry point. So we would appreciate if he could come around to the back part of the building.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's also the same entrance that he'd be picked up at too, if I decided to pick him up for some.
Yeah, that is correct. So the pickup process for our students is our families, all those families received a carpool number due to the fact that we are conducting the lottery at this point for families who are interested in a potential return. So all families have that number. You would just put it on your window, and we will communicate the number within the school to our students via a document that's projected in all of their end of the day period classes. And students would then come out to meet you at your car.
Perfect. And will there be any special procedures for students who are walking to the school apart from everyone else, or no?
The only thing that I can tell you is at dismissal at the end of the day, we begin our dismissal at 2:50. Those students who we have who will be walking home, we will dismiss at 2:50 then. Just as we can start to kind of move the process of moving students out in a socially distant way, our walkers would then be dismissed as one of our first dismissal groups.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Not problem.
If I can just interject, and I'm sorry to do that. I saw one or two people trying to raise their hand. I think one person's been very patient, Jill Geller, or is it Guller? I hate to mangle your name, but perhaps we could just do an order of who raises their hand, just to make sure we keep it flowing.
No problem. Thank you. It is Jill Guller. I have kids at Parkway and this year starting at Glen Hills. So I'm wondering, they have never had class at Glen Hills before. I understand that I'm supposed to drop them off at the pool entrance, but then I don't think they even have a classroom number. So I'm hoping with the staggered start, their teachers will be meeting them there and taking them to their classes, is what I'm guessing. Is that right?
Yeah, so terrific question. Welcome to Glen Hills. We're so excited. We will have a big welcome sign out in the morning. Students will come in and we will have their teachers will be upstairs, as well as just about most of our staff members will be up kind of creating a personalized walkway in, so our students aren't lost and they're not at all confused. There'll be many adults on hand to welcome them and really guide them to their class so they can be successful. Having them in the building by themselves that first day too will allow us to give them a tour of the building so they can have an opportunity to see the school and kind of know where things are. So yes, we'll have all hands on deck to help them get to class safely, because we know that you won't have the opportunity to bring them in. And so we want to make sure, yep, they'll be in good hands. Okay.
Thank you. Yep. And then I did want to ask too, are you planning on doing school pictures at Glen Hills too?
Right now, we did not have a plan in place to do school pictures. We did do, we have a yearbook. And so we did ask students to submit the pictures through yearbook. But that would be something that I would be willing to connect with Mrs. Umar and Dr. Smith with, if we can coordinate something.
Okay. And then I had just one last question is,
sure.
Are we, I know at Parkway, we can come and drop them off instead of going through the drop-off line and the pickup line. Can we do the same thing at Glen Hills, or are you encouraging everybody to stay in their cars and go through the lanes?
Stay in your cars and go through the lane. Yeah, we have pretty efficient system, and just for safety of students and maintaining social distancing, we would prefer that. We will have somebody out near the cars to radio numbers in, and we will send students out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Good questions and good answers. So very good. Who do we have next?
It says iPhone, Mr. and Ms. iPhone.
No, just whoever's up, please go ahead.
Well, I see a hand that says iPhone, so let's move on to N Pope.
Hi, so I am a parent of a new student starting in at Glen Hills. She's already online virtual all year, but we just moved to Glendale a year and a half ago. So she's moving from a little school to a big school. And so I'm also an administrator at an elementary school. We've been in school since September. So I'm interested to know what your protocols are for COVID in general in the building in terms of getting to the classroom. What are they doing when they're sitting in their classroom? How often can they get a mask break? Do they have to bring their water bottle? So all of those additional questions that I have the lens of in the classroom building. So those are the questions that I'm just wondering what the procedures are for that.
Sure, I'd be happy to answer. So as students come in, there'll be a staggered entrance as they get dropped off, either by bus or transportation or walking. They would come into the door. There is a stairwell that's designated for 4, 5, and 6. So there's 2 stairwells that they would come up. We have a large cafeteria space where they can create a pathway where they walk in and they report directly to their classrooms. Teachers will have bins in their classroom for free breakfast that's available to all students who would like to eat it. The students would then have an opportunity to eat their breakfast in the morning, and we will be teaching students the process of active eating. So taking the mask off to eat, but then putting it back on, right away. All of the classrooms have a designated mask break space with consistent directions that are school-wide, indicating that students should pull their mask down, take a couple deep breaths, and then pull their mask back up, and then return back to their seat. Okay, and all of those are distanced out from students about 6 feet. Within the 4th and 5th grade classrooms, we are going with 3 feet of distancing from seat to seat for students, which puts our class sizes a maximum. I think I have 21. The rest of them are down to 20, some at 17, right? So it's kind of the mix in there. We have fairly large size classrooms though. All students are facing one direction in the classroom in terms of their seating arrangement. We have 6-foot walkways that students take to move out of the classroom to go to the restroom. Our restroom policy is 1 student out of the room at a time. We are not using restrooms during any of our transition periods. It would be during class. So it's kind of opposite rules for those of us who work in a school, right? So those are some of the protocols that are there. In terms of lunchroom, we reduced our seating capacity at all of our tables to about 50%. We've got markings and 2 different lines that we're running in the cafeteria to ensure the distancing. At recess, we will have zones to help kind of maintain students in particular zones. Students will be asked to wear their mask and distance at recess, but we again will have places for mask breaks out there because we know that if students are running and playing that they'll need a break. All of the classes, we've sort of taken an all hands on deck approach with our teachers and our music and PE and arts classes to make sure that we've spread students across those classes to keep those class sizes small as well.
And then just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
What kind of PPE do you have in the classrooms?
PPE in the classrooms, we have some teachers have plexiglass in front of their desks. All students would be masks. We have wipes in the classroom. We have gloves in the classroom. And we also have first aid kits to limit movement to the health room. Mr. Beckman, did I miss anything in the PPE kits?
No, we have a child size mask, we have adult size masks, we have disposable masks, we have reusable masks, as well as a hand sanitizer in every classroom. So the teacher has a bottle for themselves. We have a bottle for the kids when they come in and when they exit the building. And we have a lot of disinfectant wipes in the classroom for the students to use if they're able, and also for the teacher to use. So that's the PPE. Everyone got a PPE kit this week in their
Hi. Oh, 1 second.
we have gloves too. I think you said gloves, Ms. Young. So yeah, we have gloves if they want to wear gloves. Yeah.
Yep. I also would say that for any kind of instruction that would take place, like for example, we have our educators have access to face shields as well if they're doing closer instruction, like for some of our specialized services, as well as some of the instances in which we have students receiving specialized services like a plexiglass barrier as well.
If a parent wanted to have their child go to school with their own plexiglass barrier, is that allowed?
Yes, that is fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, welcome to Glendale community, and we're glad to have you in the Glendale School District. Welcome. Paul, You have a question for us?
Yes, hello everyone, Dr. Smith, everyone. It's really good to hear everyone's voices. My question is, what is the plan in the event that there is a breakout? What is the ratio for it? You know, if there's one student that contracts COVID, you know, what plans are in place, and then, you know, what is the threshold to say, well, we're gonna shut this class down, or we're going to revise our plan. So what are the protocols in place for that?
Dr. Kilton, what kind of data will we be continuing to look at?
Hi, Paul. I miss your voice as well. We will continue tracking the same data that we have been over the course of the last several months. Each Friday, I get continued reports from the North Shore Health Department, so I'm eagerly awaiting our data for today. And we will continue tracking that. Because of the way we are socially distancing our classrooms and our setups, the goal is to, and this is different at each school, so I will defer to principals as well, but to not have to shut down an entire school, that they are set up in cohorts and pods where we would only have to quarantine those that are in a close contact with a positive case. I'm not sure, Anna, if you have something to addition to add to that for Glen Hills. But we are trying to eliminate closing down large groups by the way we are implementing our instructional practices.
Right. So I can speak for Glen Hills for our students in grades 6 through 8, we will be practicing 6 feet of social distancing. So we have more opportunity to do contact tracing than we do at grades 4 and 5. Grades 4 and 5, if there's a positive case in the classroom, we likely might have to close a classroom, but those students are really well cohorted throughout the day, so it wouldn't impact multiple classrooms. In addition, in grades 6 through 8, to help as like another mitigation strategy, we've tried to keep most of our 6th through 8th graders, with the exception we offer German classes and accelerated math classes. So that causes some pieces where kids are going to cross over. But by and large, if students start the day with a group of students, they kind of travel with that same group of students throughout the day to limit exposure as well. So that would allow us to do some contact tracing. One area though, in the lunchroom, we will have assigned seating. If your child would be sitting at a lunch table with a student who would test positive, then we would contact trace that table, would then need to be quarantined versus an entire classroom.
I can, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Paul.
Hi.
I was just going to talk a little bit about Parkway and just kind of reiterate some of the same things that Ms. Young just shared. And that is that at Parkway, our students are also in a cohort. And that said, a part of their daily routine is actually eating lunch within their classroom setting. But the nice thing about remaining with their core group of students within their classroom is that if indeed we actually did have an outbreak within a classroom and needed to quarantine, we would close down the classroom, just as Ms. Young talked about for her 4th and 5th grade students. And then we would switch over to the virtual learning models just to ensure that the students could continue to receive instruction during that time frame as well.
Good. Thank
Okay.
you, Dr. Smith.
Okay. Thank you. I do have I want to piggyback that question, if I may. And it is good to, as I said, good to see my friends' faces as well. My second question is, what are we doing for the teachers, and have the teachers received the option to receive the vaccination? Because I think that we should be taking them into consideration as well. And, you know, granted, I understand what HIPAA is, but you know, I'd like to know, you know, what are we doing as a district to be supportive of the teachers?
That's a great question that I think all of us would love to jump on and answer right now, Paul, because the great news is that we have partnered with a pharmacy who actually came to Glen Hills yesterday and spent the day at Glen Hills, providing the first round of vaccinations for all of our staff members. So that is great news. And then they'll do a follow-up with the second shot being administered in April.
Okay. Well, Dr. Smith, Dr. Kilton, always happy to see both of your faces. Welcome to some of the new parents, and welcome to our new Glen Hills administrator. I look forward to meeting with you all sometime in the near future. Thank you for your answers. Have a great day.
Very good. Yeah, where are you, in your car right now?
Yes, I am.
I see a nice sunroof. You're having it's a good day to have a sunroof. That's good. That's all right. Before we go on to any other questions, I think I saw our new associate principal on, am I right? I'd like to introduce to the community our new associate principal at Glen Hills, Mr. Brian Wright. He started Monday. Mr. Wright, you have a couple words of introduction to everyone?
Sure. First of all, I am a former Glendale resident. I lived in Glendale for 17 years. I used to be the associate principal at Nicolay High School. I always say this, I was the first African-American head football coach, or actually head coach in the North Shore area. Tell me if I'm wrong, Dr. Mosier, I think back in those days. I spent many years at Nicolay. I started as EA, became an assistant principal. I also lived on Sydney Place, right over here. I started at Sydney Place. Then I went to Marne Avenue. Then all that money that Dr. Mosier paid me, I went to live in Dunwood for a year or two before I realized I couldn't afford it and went back to the Marne area. So I did that. But at the same time, I'm happy to be here back again at the neighborhood, Glen Hills. My daughter graduated from Glen Hills, and some of the teachers who were teaching her then are still here. So it's an honor to be back in this community. And I'm sorry about this, Mr. Jones, and I'm sorry about being late, except one thing. I've worked on Android computers for the last 20 plus years. I'm still trying to figure out this whole Apple thing. I'm letting y'all know right now. This thing is a monster. I'm so angry with this thing. I'm tired of these little red, yellow, and green dots, whatever they got you doing. The point being made is glad to be here, and it's an honor. So thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Wright. We are pleased to have you working with the Glen Hills staff and Principal Young. It's an asset to the community. Jennifer Getz, would you like to come next with a question?
I was just going to add, Brian, if I might add, Brian, I love Crestwood. Crestwood, thank you.
Okay, little commercial there. That was good. Jennifer Getz.
Hi there. I have a 7th grade daughter who is autistic and has significant support needs. I saw Miss Kilton was on, so maybe I could direct this to her, but we can't get into too much detail. Does she come to school on Monday? I'm still not clear on that. And you may not be able to answer this here, but what will her day actually look like? If you need to answer that separate from here, that's fine. But the first question is the important one.
I'm going to defer to Ms. Young on that.
Jennifer, I would ask you to reach out to her case manager and speak directly with her case manager if that information has not come to you already. That's the person.
Okay. I mean, I did email the person that normally does that. I haven't heard back. So
if you want to shoot, shoot me an email and I will follow up with that teacher and make sure they are in contact with you.
Great. Thank you.
Jennifer, I'm sorry to interrupt. I can add, Mrs. B is in the other room here and she just ran in here to say yes, that your daughter will be in attendance on Monday, but definitely reach out to the case manager again.
Furthermore, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Dr. Kilton, that's quick thinking. That was good to get a response. And
I have
Young.
That's
good service.
Ran in.
Good service.
Yes.
All right. Laura Lee, I see you would like to ask a question.
Yes, this is in regards to Parkway. Thanks for answering the question about the pictures. My daughter's in K-5 and I was wondering, will there be any after school programs or activities this year, or we're just kind of not doing that at the moment?
That's a great question. Typically, during a regular school year, as you know, there have been some after-school recreational opportunities for our young learners. And I do know that while in virtual learning, in the virtual learning model, there were a couple of teachers, for example, Miss Lingard, who offered some outside socially distancing recreational activities. So if teachers continue to come forth with ideas about how they can safely be able to accommodate for an after-school rec program or class, they would run those ideas by us. And then if we are able to, again, accommodate this in a way that's safe and healthy for all of our students and as well as for our staff, then we would certainly look forward to being able to offer a class or two. Yeah, it just kind of depends on the staff too. Really, our staff really initiates those classes. And so there perhaps will be some staff members that come forth. And I do know with spring around the corner and it getting to be a little bit warmer, there will be opportunities for more of those outside activities too.
Okay.
Dr. Smith, may I add in there? I would also, Ms. Lee, I would check with Nicolay Rec Department. They have now started requesting building space. And I know that young artists are going to start again in April, I believe. So check with the Nicolay Rec Department, and I know they've requested space at Parkway for that program, and there might be more coming.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, good question, good answers. Tracy Stetler, do you have a question for us?
I am forever full of questions.
We're all set. Tracy, are you on there? Well, while Tracy's is getting set, Paul, is that you, Paul, with the P?
Yeah, it is. I have another question. So,
Right,
you know,
sure.
The million-dollar question is, as we move forward, are we going to, one, and I have a two-part question. One, are we looking at how we're going to address Summer Academy? I'm always looking at the future. And I know Dr. Smith has got a smile on her face. I'm not looking at the camera right now or the phone, but you know, are we thinking about Summer Academy as we move forward so that we can start prepping for that? Because this is around the time that we start getting the forms in, blah, 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 blah.
That's an excellent question, Paul. I just met with Patty Walters, the Summer Academy Secretary, this morning. We are getting some additional information out to our staff next week in terms of the recruitment process for Summer Academy teachers. It is important to note that, yes, we are going to be continuing on with our traditional in-person learning model for Summer Academy, which is actually going to be place from June 28th until July 29th, Monday through Thursday. We're not going to be offering the Fabulous Friday program at this point in time just because of the number of students. We would typically have between 100 and 125 students on a field trip, and just trying to remain socially distanced and to adhere to those safety guidelines, it would be very challenging to do so. So again, we want to make sure that we have a safe Summer Academy program, and we just put on the website just a little blurb for families in the community, just so that we're continuing to keep Summer Academy on people's radars. So we are definitely going to move forward with our Summer Academy program.
Great. Paul, if I could add to that, I think all of us may have seen that Governor Evers has made a proposal that
turn the car back on.
We would that the state of Wisconsin will consider
you have your phone with you?
Summer school and starting school early in the fall. And I can't tell you how the legislature is going to respond to the governor's suggestions concerning summer school and starting school early, meaning right now the state law has limitations on when we can start. But the governor is saying that he is considering revoking those for the start of the 21-22 school year. If that would come about, I'm sure the school board will be wanting to discuss the impact of the governor's proposals upon the Glendale-River Hills School District concerning summer school and the start of school in the fall.
Okay, so, and thank you very much. My second part to the question is, and it's going to be a compounded question to piggyback to your last statement. Have we taken into consideration, and I think this is globally, are we going to be, you know, as we move forward, especially into September,
looking at some support systems for our students in relation to mental health counseling. Secondly, and this is a compounded question, have we taken into consideration maybe even looking at a model that perhaps looks at looking at a hybrid of a year-round school? And finally, this is to Dr. Shannon, because I know these is a day in Shannon, so I'm trying to be respectful to my favorite people. How are we going to address our IEP sessions? Will we still be able to have those annual sessions, and will they be face-to-face or will they be virtually? So there is a compounded host of questions there that I'm hoping that you can answer.
I'll go
Dr.
first.
Chilton, you want to start?
Sure. I'll go first. I think my question was one of the easiest. Obviously we will continue with annual IEPs, just by law we will. What we have found during the pandemic is that some of our families have enjoyed the opportunity for the Zoom IEP because people haven't been required to leave work for the meetings, and they can jump on from their work location, taking a break at work, etc. So moving forward, we would be able to offer both options for an IEP process. So if families wanted in a virtual, we could do it via Zoom, and if people wanted in person, we would do it in person. The second thing is, if you remember last summer, I organized an entire summer services program for students in special education. Anyone that wanted to come in for extended services, and it's not extended year like ESY services that are mandated, but it would be services that we just offered. I have not talked to Dr. Moser about that yet, but that is something that we did last year to kind of help pick up with the academic challenges that occurred last spring when we closed down in March. So, but this year, obviously, as Dr. Smith said, we will have summer academy. So some of those summer needs that both regular education students and special education students need can be met through the summer academy program this year. So that will be a huge bonus. Whereas last year, summer academy was virtual. So.
And if I could try to answer somewhere in that litany of questions, considering is the school district, the school board going to consider any assistance for students, whether in mental health or other aspects? I think we're all aware that we've had two federal bills passed dealing with the CARES Act, COVID-19. We'll be receiving some funding. We haven't received it yet, but we will. The board has wisely set a reopening budget where some of that money has been spent already, even though we haven't received it. The big amount of money would come with the new bill that President Biden has proposed. If that bill does pass and schools are given resources, I'm sure the school board will be giving consideration to those kind of expenditures to help the kids. That's what that money is for. And it would be a good expenditure. But we have not made any of those plans at this point, just because we don't know what we're going to get at this particular point. And we're hoping, I'll speak for myself, I'm hoping that that bill will pass. And as a result, the Glendale-River Hills School District will have the resources to take those kind of requests into consideration.
I would also add, Paul, that this year, although many of you have not met her, we did add a social worker to the district. Miss Denise Davis has joined our team. That is through advocating for our social emotional, the needs of our students. So that's been a huge addition, and she's looking forward to actually meeting students and families in person as soon as we can get restarted here next week. But I've been, throughout the closure, been meeting bi-weekly with our social emotional team and talking about the mental health, youth mental health supports. So we do have a team of people in the district that have been working towards that. So we have not forgotten about the social emotional needs of our kids for sure, and our staff.
Good, thank you. Tracy, I cut you off before. Tracy Stetler, you're back on.
I have Tracy's question on my cell phone because she's not able to turn on her microphone. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to read it.
Oh, no, feel free to do that. It's a good idea.
Tracy says, I'm wondering what the class size is for the virtual 8th grade. Does that section move together from class to class, or is it a few students in each section? Will there be further support for virtual students to help facilitate things like in-class demonstrations and science experiments? And she would also like to thank us for all of our hard work and to tell us that we are doing an amazing job.
Ms. Young, can you help us?
I sure can. Yes, the 8th grade students that are virtual are spread across classes. So we tried to make sure that we had a mix, and a lot of that is to help cohort them. So by spreading them across different groups, we are able to have them move with that group throughout the course of the day, which helps us develop a sense of community with virtual and in-person learners. With the accessibility to kind of be able to see things that are happening in the classroom, there likely will be the opportunity for them to be able to partake in some more of those activities as they take place in the classroom. So, our teachers have been working really well with a training facilitator that Ms. Westfall brought in this week, who talked about how can we make experiences sort of, I guess, for lack of a better word, like parallel for students. So if there's a science experiment going on in the classroom, what are the ways in which students can participate in that at home? So they aren't just watching, but they're actually having a role and purpose in that in their learning process.
Good. Thank you. And Ms. Stetler, thank you for your vote of confidence on the hard work of the staff, the teachers, the administrators. They're going to enjoy sometime in their lives. They're going to be able to sleep again. And they deserve it. They've worked awfully hard. Do we have more questions? While we're waiting for people on the questions, administrators, I didn't warn Mr. Beckman, but he can handle this question on my part. Mr. Beckman, do you have anything you would like to say just to tell the parents on some of the work you've been doing to get the buildings into shape and ready for the kids, the faculty, staff to come back?
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Mosier. I think we've dotted all the I's and crossed the T's that we can think of right now, but something might come up in the future. We've created PPE kits for every classroom. And in that kit, as Ms. Young talked about, there's disposable masks, there's paper masks, there's adult masks, there's kid masks. We have buckets and buckets and buckets of wipes, and as well as hand sanitizer and pumps. And we're using a non-alcoholic hand sanitizer, which is, I think, a really good option because it's not sticky. We've got signage in the buildings. We have plastic where we need to have plastic. We don't have plastic everywhere, but I think we have it in designated areas where it can. We've added filtration units to air purifiers to every classroom at Parkway School. Since it's not air conditioned. We've put protocols in place at Glen Hills for running our HVAC unit more robustly, more fresh air, more flushing of the building, bringing outside air in the morning, things like that. I feel that we've done our due diligence, if you will, Dr. Mosier, to make the building as safe as possible. I think with the protocols that Ms. Young has put in place and Dr. Smith and Ms. Umar have put in place for our distancing as well as our class sizes, I feel really confident that we're going to open very, very successfully and positively. And we certainly are on the lookout for anything that we've missed, but I think we're pretty close. I was able to add a custodian to second shift. That's going to help us during the day as well as the evening on cleaning and disinfecting. So I feel very good about where we're at right now. And I thank my staff too, because it's been kind of a long way since last March. We're coming up on 1 year. And I will say publicly, my staff has been here every day since last March. We haven't been home and we haven't been locked down. So I'm thanking them publicly. They're not on right now. They're busy doing stuff, but I do thank my staff because they've done an outstanding job. So thank you, Dr. Mosier, for that opportunity.
Wanted to thank you, Mr. Beckman, on your work and your not just the work that you and your colleagues are doing in keeping the building in shape. It's your willingness to listen to the faculty and the administrators and the staff on their requests, and you're responding in such a quick and appropriate manner is deeply appreciated by the parents, that they're sending their children to us, and they know that that we're in good shape. And I do want to say your addition of the custodian, the school board approved of that on February 17th. That is coming from those federal dollars that I mentioned to Paul and his question. Even though we haven't received the money yet, we are keeping a separate budget for expenditures that are relating to the reopening and COVID-19. This is one of those expenditures that the school board thought was important, that we give Mr. Beckman the staffing he needs to stay on top of things, and he's done it. So very good.
Thank you, Dr. Mosher. Thank you, board, too.
Any other questions? I'm gonna turn now to another person I didn't warn I was gonna do this, but that's Mr. Beckman is sitting there happy because I've already called on him, and so he knows he's off the target. Jenica Westfall, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. You can tell her enthusiasm. She knows I'm gonna pick on her. Maybe you could comment a little bit about the expectations concerning teaching and learning, that now that we're bringing the kids back. How do things stand with that?
I think we're in a really good place. I know we had to make some changes over here at Glen Hills based on social distancing and just our high population of students and families who wanted students to return to the building. So we've done a lot of training around concurrent or blended teaching, and really listened to families and just their concerns, and really guided a lot of our training to cover some of those things. We also put it in order for tech supplies to make sure that our virtual learners can hear what's happening in the classrooms. They'll also, the addition of monitors within the classrooms, so teachers could very easily see the virtual students and make sure that they're a part of the community, the classroom community. And then also we'll have that continued support. So we do have a tech coach who's coming in each week to support classroom teachers with the addition of these new tech tools that we have. And then we also have the consultant that we've been working with around the blended learning model that's going to be coming back and also coaching and supporting us as we work our way through this. So just a reminder, make sure that we give our teachers some grace as they learn to adapt to this new instructional model. And I think things will go real well once we get going.
Well, thank you very much. I see a question under iPhone. So iPhone, it's all yours. You're muted. Whoever iPhone is, looks like they're muted. You want to unmute yourself, but you're up. You can talk. There we go. Go ahead. All right. I'm not doing well on that. Mallory, can I pick on you? I've been getting some questions lately about testing. Now, I'm not talking about COVID-19 testing. Early this week, the superintendents from southeastern Wisconsin had a discussion with some of our legislators over the appropriateness that we continue our testing program. Can you just update us on what that's all about?
Absolutely. And I invite Ms. Westfall to jump in as well, because I know you have a larger district picture. We are required to conduct the forward exam by the state of Wisconsin. So all of our students will participate in that exam. we have a schedule that begins in April. All of our students who attend in person will receive that exam during their regular in-person instruction. For our students who are virtual and remaining virtual, they are required to come into the building to receive that in person. And so we are designating some spaces and some times, particularly on those asynchronous Fridays when no other students are in the building, in order to bring those students in to complete the requirement. At Parkway, that applies to only our third graders, but I know at Glen Hills that applies to the entire building.
Very good, thank you. Anything, Ms. Westfall, to add to that?
Yeah, we'll be running it pretty similar to in our 4th and 5th grade, but the middle school is going to look a little different. So because we do have the concurrent teaching model going, so we will be looking at some of those Fridays that we'll be able to have students who are virtual come into the building with no other students here. So we'll be looking at that and then how we can schedule that so that we're not taking time away from classroom instruction.
Good, thank you. Ms. Young, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, I would. My son is in 8th grade for special needs program. And I need the question is, do he start school Monday or does he start school on Thursday?
Principal Young, would you like to answer that?
Yes, it would depend on what classroom he's in. So I don't want to disclose any information about your son on the call. So if you wouldn't mind, reaching out to me specifically, we have some of our special education students will be returning on Monday, but most of our 8th graders will not be returning until Thursday. So it depends on who his case manager is. And if they have not communicated that with you, I would like to know that information so I can make sure they connect with you prior to Monday so that you know exactly what to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank both of you. With the same name, Ms. Young and Ms. Young, that's good.
That's right.
Gabriel, the floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon. My only question is about my son is going back to in-person on Monday, and I am a little uncertain about buses. I haven't received any information, and I'm just wondering, should he just be ready by, I don't know, 7 or something like that?
Which school do your students attend?
Glen Hills.
Yes, I sent out an email to families around busing last night and let you know that if you had not received busing information to contact Belle Holloway, who is the secretary here. I'm more than happy to have her, if you would like to connect with the school or call us after this call, we can work with you to try to make sure if busing information, if we have it, that we can give it to you. And if something is amiss, that we get it scheduled and programmed as quickly as possible.
Okay.
I know I received some email responses back after I sent out transportation information and some people had not received things. And I know there's been a slight delay in the mailing out from Right Way. So if we can help you out with that on our end, we'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for all your hard work, all of you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking, Gabriel. We don't want transportation to be a problem on that first day. So I'm glad you asked that question.
No, I mean, yes, I'm just worried everything. I know it's going to be a little bit difficult for everybody. So in the worst case scenario, if I have to drop him off, I have the ability to do it. So it's not a big deal. Thank you all. Thank you for your hard work.
Well, does anyone have anything else? Any of the administrators want to say anything before we close out our discussion with the parents? Anyone?
I would just love to let our parents know, how incredibly hard our teachers have been working. There are many moving parts and logistics into reopening a school during a pandemic. Our teachers have been outstanding about picking up information. They've done a really good job of trying to keep parents in the loop and communicate because we know there's so much information that has to get out. If you have an opportunity and you can shoot an email to your child's teachers and just let them know that you appreciate them, that would mean the world to them right now. And I would certainly appreciate it. So that's all that I have to say for right now.
I would like to echo Ms. Young's sentiments, and I would also like to thank all of our wonderful parents and community members that are on this call at this time. Without your partnership, none of this would be possible. So I just want to thank you for your flexibility and your grace as we go through this reopening process. So thanks to all of you.
Good. Well, Ms. Young and Dr. Smith, your comments about your staff are very appropriate. But all of us in the community and on your staffs want to say thank you to all the administrators. All of the administrators have worked unbelievably hard and making everything work and providing not just a safe and healthy place to go to school, but as Ms. Westfall indicated, we're going to do an outstanding job of teaching and learning with our students too. So on behalf of the community, to the administrators, the teachers, the staff, thank you. You've done a marvelous job. So we appreciate it. Well, thank you to everyone for tuning in to this quickly organized but successful Zoom meeting. It's very nice. This was intended to be an opportunity for last minute questions, so things go smoothly on Monday, and they will go smoothly. I'm not going to speculate. It's going to go well on Monday, and the kids are going to come home with smiles on their faces Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The kids are going to be happy to be either virtual or to be in person, and the parents are going to be happy too. So thank you to everybody. Have a good weekend. And we'll see everybody on Monday. So thank you.